morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead, where today's micro moment is going to be about jars. I don't know about you, but I have tons of extra jars, and I do that on purpose. If we ever have a significant power outage that lasts more than a couple of days, I will have to can everything in my freezer. I keep enough jars on hand that if that were to happen, that I would be able to, with my outdoor canning equipment, can everything and not lose anything at all in my freezer. So I have a ton of jars. Plus I rotate through them quite a bit. And the three sizes that I have are 2 quarts, which I use mostly for freeze-dried goods, 1 quart, which I use for most of my canning, and then pints, which also are very popular with me with canning. And I much prefer wide mouth jars, although I have plenty of regular mouth jars. The question is, and we go through a lot of our canned goods all the time, and I have empty jars all the time. So what do you do with it? Is there a way to organize it? Now, one of the things that I discovered about myself was when I am doing a lot of canning, I realize that I am washing those darn jars about 3 different times. Once when I put them out on the shelf, once when I bring them in the house, and if I leave them in the house for a few days, because we live on a dirt road, they get all dusty and dirty inside, and so I have to wash them a 3rd time to prepare them for canning. Well, that is ridiculous. I should be able to wash them 1 time and then preserve that cleanliness so that when I am ready to can, the jars can just be taken off the shelf and used. Here is what I have figured out, and I've been through several iterations of this strategy. So I'm going to take you right to the end result, which is what I have found that works best for me. First of all, with empty quart jars, we now live in an earthquake zone, and the safest way for me to store our canned food is in the original case that it came in the original box. I even saved the plastic, and I'm going to show you what I do on that in just a moment. But I still have tons of jars that I don't have the boxes for anymore. They were thrown away a long time ago when I didn't live in an earthquake zone. We buy up lots of jars whenever we see them on sale. We will buy them by case after case after case and bring them home. But with the singles that I have that don't have a home in a box, the thing that I do is help my water supply. I will fill these jars with water. Up to the very, very top, so that the water is almost touching the lid. The jars have previously been cleaned the way I would clean for them to be ready for canning, and then I put a used lid that has also been through the dishwasher and cleaned on the top, seal it with a ring. I mean, it doesn't seal. Some people will process these in a pressure canner. I don't do that. And so this now goes out on our shelf as part of our water supply until I need it for canning. Now, when the time comes that I might need this wide mouth jar for a batch of canning that I'm doing, I simply go out there and take it off the shelf with the water. The water is perfectly clean, so I use it to water plants. And then once it is empty, it is ready to can. I don't need to wash it again. So that is 1 washing of this jar every time it gets dirty with food in it. After I clean it, water goes in it, it's clean, water comes out of it, it's clean and ready to can. So that's one thing that I do with my strategy with how I keep jars. When I bring a brand new case of jars in the house and ready for canning, I will take my scissors and along the short side, along one long side, and along the other short side, I will cut the plastic. When I do that, it leaves a flap that is attached that I can then put back over, as on these jars, over the top and save them from the dust that is so prevalent everywhere on our property. So now these jars I can look at these, even if these were out there sitting on the shelf, and because of my system, I can tell you immediately that these are jars that have not been washed and prepared for canning. They are brand new. Now here's how I know that. First of all, there's no writing on the lid. So that tells me that these are new lids. They are upright in this case, which also tells me that they are new, but they have not been washed. Do not assume even for a split second that when you open a case of jars, that just because the jars look really spotless, that it is okay to put any food in these until after you have washed them with hot soapy water. Jars, brand new jars, need to be washed, and usually I will send them right through my dishwasher, the jar, the lid, the ring, everything. Then what I do, after I have put all of these in the dishwasher as part of my strategy, I take them out of the dishwasher and I put them back in the case upside down. Now these upside down jars now tell me that these have been washed by me because they're not upright with a brand new lid. These are new, never been washed. These, if I've taken them out of the dishwasher, they may be new, they may not be new, I may not know, but they have been washed and ready. I can lift up the jar and look at the lid. If the lid has no writing on it, I know that this is a new jar, never been used before, but it is washed and cleaned because it is upside down. It is a simple, simple strategy. I brought in a couple of boxes of our canned goods. These actually are from our freeze-dried foods. And I want to show them to you so that you can interpret them. So here is a first case. I can right now see that these are all upright. Now from where you are, you may think that this would be a clear one, but it doesn't fit if it's been, that there's no food in it. So if I'm looking and cannot see the food in this one because it's up above my eye level, but I see that the top part is clear, I might need to pick it up, tilt it forward to see if there's writing on it. If there's writing on it, of course, there's food in it. So all of these have food in. They are appropriately labeled. The plastic is over the top, and they are part of our food bank out in our freeze-dry lab, in our Kelvin lab. Let's take a look at this case of jars. It has a plastic flap, which means that the jars are, fairly new since I've been doing this strategy. Okay, so look, I have two upside down. I have two right side up. And I have two with markings on them. Well, the ones with markings on them are mixed fruit that we freeze-dried a week or so ago. Then these two are upright, no writing on the lids. I now know immediately that these are brand new jars, unwashed. So that means I will have to wash them once, and when I do, then I can turn them upside down. Here are two upside down jars. Right away, I know that these are clean and they are ready to go. Even if they have a little dust on them, all I have to do is rinse the dust off. I don't have to re-wash the jars. So let's check these out. What does the lid look like? This one is a previously used lid. So I know that I've probably used this jar before, and after I washed it and it was completely dry, I used an already used lid to close it up to keep it nice and pristine on the inside. I could use this lid if I'm going to freeze dry. But if I'm going to bottle something like apple juice, then I would need to use a brand new lid. So let's check this other upside down one. So this one has no writing on it. This is a brand new jar, but it is clean, and I know that how? Because it is upside down. This is my system, and it works fabulously for me. It is so efficient. I am now washing jars in between uses one time, and that is all. And what a difference that makes in terms of water usage, energy consumption, the whole thing, as well as my time. So just to quickly review, with single jars, particularly quart jars, I fill these with water, put a used lid on the top and a ring, and put them out on the shelf with my other canned goods. They're part of our water storage, or I can bring them in the house, water the plants with the water inside, and immediately use this without having to wash it again. For brand new case of jars, I open it on 3 sides, so I have a flap, and since I did not wash these, I want to make sure I'm giving myself the right signal. Then I generally will put an entire case of jars in the dishwasher to wash, and when they are done and completely dry on the inside, and that is really important, you don't want any water getting stinky on the inside of these jars. So I wait until they are completely dry, and then I put the brand new lids back on them and put them upside down in the case, which signals to me these are clean and ready to use. If they're new, the lid will not have any writing on it. If they're previously used, I will have a previously used lid and can make a decision. If I'm vacuum sealing, I can use that lid. If I'm canning, I have to use a new lid. And that gives me the ability to instantly know when I come to a very mixed case like this one, what the status of each of these empty jars is, whether they are brand new yet unwashed, or whether they have been washed and may have been previously used, or whether they have been washed and they are brand new. That is my system. It is important that if you are going to work out a system for yourself, that it fits your lifestyle and your thinking. This is just one more way we can be more organized and efficient in our homes, especially as we think about food security for our families. So thanks for being with us on this micro moment, and we'll see you again next week on Monday.